What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another player ratings. A bit of a different setting this time. We are out the Champions League. We have lost 3-0 to Leipzig. If you watched the watch along, you would have seen John, you would have seen Sim, and obviously Joe, who's not here. But let's just get straight into it, because I don't want to be spending too long in this video, I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Let's start for Hugo Lloris. We gave him a 3. What do you make of it?
2 errors as far as I'm concerned. He let the second one in on his near post. The first one, he didn't really cover his tangent lines to the to each corner, to each post. So to me, he wasn't in the right position for either goals, and it's a shame because we needed him to be at the top of his game today.
Yeah, very disappointing. He got a hand on both of those shots as well. So it's not a case of like he couldn't get near them or anything, or the positioning was there, but as soon as he got low down to those shots, he just parried them both onto the post and both in the back of the net. He'll be very disappointed with his night's work as well, I feel like.
Yeah, and just when you need a captain to step up, he goes and does that.
And just when Spurs were on top as well.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and this is 5 minutes after I said, "What do you think of Hugo Lloris?"
So you're the one that jinxed us.
I jinxed it, really. In a way.
Moving on to Serge Aurier, we gave him a 5. Not much in it for Serge today.
Yeah, I thought there was a few moments where he was getting up the pitch. He put a few balls in the box, but obviously with no striker or no attackers really attacking the penalty area, his crosses weren't able to find anyone. But he did make an error for that second goal. Quite frustrating header backwards, fell to Angelino, and obviously it fell to Sabitzer, who headed it into the back of the net. And he'll be very, very disappointed with that. He made a few stupid mistakes as well throughout the game, which you're going to get with Serge. Yeah. But at least he was, a decent option on the right hand side to try and get whip balls in the box, and he was available a lot of the time.
I felt his intent was there.
I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch. Yeah. Put it that way. And so with Aurier, you always suspect like that he's got a red card in him or something like that, or a calamitous sort of error at the back. But he actually went through the whole game without any of those. So
Ryan Sessegnon, we gave a 4. It was a massive opportunity for him tonight, but didn't take it, did he?
He just didn't really do much on the ball. He sort of gets caught in possession, and he was kind of busy on the ball, but really didn't do anything he didn't progress the ball at all. And that's the whole point I thought we bought him for, was to sort of take on your man, or just have a bit of cut and thrust about you. But he just seemed to be out of his depth a little bit tonight.
To be fair, he is a young kid. He's 19 years old.
Still young, but on tonight's performance, it wasn't that great.
And he's playing left wing back, so you would think as opposed to playing left back, he has a bit more license to go forward, as he would do if he were just playing forward back. And you see someone like Marcus Alonso when he plays left wing back, how attacking he can be. He can always be like a third striker sometimes at the back post there. But Sessegnon didn't have any sort of that intent at all. Whenever he was on the ball, it was very low quality. He lost the ball a lot of the times. His running off the ball wasn't very good, I thought. He only once did he get in behind the Leipzig defence.
He's not overlapping well enough, is he?
He just had that confidence. Again, he seems to have a big confidence
where's
issue.
The pace? Like, he doesn't look quick to me. He doesn't look like a quick... I thought the reason we bought him was because he was a quick player, can get on the overlap. Be like the new Danny Rose, that type of player.
But he doesn't,
I'm not seeing any of that, and that's the one thing you do hope to see, is like raw talent, like raw pace, and then he can mature.
Yeah, but when Danny Rose first came into the Spurs team, he wasn't any good as well. Nobody could see a player in there
apart from the volley.
He got subbed up at half time that game because he was so poor. But I think Sessegnon are going to need to give him time. He's been thrown in at the deep end completely. I think he looked out of his depth in the Premier League the year before, playing for Fulham. I think he had a great season the year before that in the Championship, but in top level football, he's not there yet.
She's confidence. He has a confidence issue.
Let's move on to Toby Alderweireld. We gave him a 5. Anything in that for you?
I didn't think he had a particularly good game. I thought on the ball, I think he kept things simple. Weren't too many long balls aimless, which was good. I thought he tried to keep things on the ground, which I appreciated. But I thought defensively he was caught out a couple of times, and I did think it wasn't his best game. Not much.
Nothing particularly bad. Nothing particularly good.
Yeah.
Also, he just looked slow. Like
he did look a bit slow.
We were saying, has he just lost? Like
he's lost like 5 yards.
How much has he lost this season? He just lost so much pace.
Toby is definitely not the player he used to be. That's
it's a shame, isn't it? Because do you remember that? I don't know. It was against Dortmund. You know, there's that clip of him like doing like the Aussie like the turn.
Well, did he nutmeg Aubameyang or something like that?
How fast was he?
Yeah.
Rapid.
Yeah.
But I think Toby is a player who always relied on his positional sense to be a very good defender. He was never the most physical defender. He was never the quickest. That's for sure. Maybe he has lost.
I thought he was quite agile though. When
he was a bit agile, but I think the way we used to defend, we used to press so high that we used to suffocate teams, and then he used to position himself in a way that he would pick up any loose balls if it ever came to him. But in this situation where he's always got defenders constantly running at him because we don't have any defensive midfielders, it's a struggle for him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I don't think he's had a good game since he signed that contract, to be honest. But anyway, let's move on to Eric Dyer. We gave him a 5. I thought there were some positives and some negatives in there from Dyer tonight.
Yeah, I think he did make a bit of a mistake for the third goal. But other than that, I thought a lot of it, he was quite physical. He won a lot of headers. I thought he competed well with the Leipzig attackers. And I thought quite a few moments he was striding forward into midfield. He was making an extra man in there. But it wasn't the perfect performance, was it? And he did get caught out for that third goal.
Yeah. I know you're going to have some negative things to say about him.
No, do you know what? As for Dyer performances, this is actually one of his better performances. Yeah. That's what I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
And then we lost 3-0. That says it all.
Moving on to Japhet Tanganga, we gave a 5 as well. Another kid thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, and I think he wasn't overawed by the occasion. But we saw that he was bullying Upamecano near the end of the game, shoving off the ball, letting him know he was there. But I just felt like there were some moments that he needed to have more confidence on the ball, and I don't think he showed that. But again, as you say, he's more of a defender first kind of defender. He's not the kind of defender where he likes the ball on the ground and like ball playing centre back. So I thought defensively he did okay, but I think the defence was a bit of a shit show.
The whole defence was just okay. That's and he was part of that.
Yeah. Harry Winks, we gave a 4. Another player who really needs to start grabbing his chances, really.
You know, when he gets the ball and he drives forward and he actually goes into the spaces in front of him, he looks brilliant, and he's rapid on the ball as well, but he just doesn't do that. He just tends to sort of play it safe too much, and just when you need someone to break the lines and actually move the ball forward and progress the ball, he just takes the safe option too many times, and it actually gets us. I call it the caution paradox, where you try and take the cautious pass, but then 3 or 4 passes later, you're like putting Lloris under pressure. So in many ways, you've got to take the opportunity to take the game by the scruff of the neck and do what Lacell does. Really move the ball incisively through the midfield, positively and forward. If he did that, which he's capable, he's got the potential to do it, Winks. He just takes the safe option too many times, and it's just a little bit frustrating because he's definitely got the potential to be a good player, but in these big games he just doesn't show up.
Do you think time's running out for Winks?
Well, I've been saying that for the last couple of seasons. I think he could I think he could be another Tom Carroll if he doesn't step up. He's really got to start learning from people like Lacell, so being very positive on the ball, running into the space, using his pace at times, and not just being this sort of shuttling the ball sideways. That's not.
He's been asked to be a defensive midfielder at the moment. He's not really a defensive midfielder, is he?
He's a ball playing midfielder. That's what he is. That's he's like he's a midfielder who likes to sit deep and spray passes and dribble between the lines. But a lot of the time, it's first of all, he's doing a lot of the defensive work that he doesn't like to do because he's not that type of player. But also a lot of the time when he's not confident in himself, as John was saying, when he plays too many safe passes, that's where you see the worst of him. I think and I think he can struggle in those moments. And I'd like to see more of the Winks that you sometimes see when he breaks those lines and he dribbles forward.
Exactly.
But a lot of the time he just plays within himself, and that's a struggle for him.
Let's move on to our man of the match, our man of the last few matches, Giovanni Lacell. So we gave him a 7.
Again.
He was everywhere on the pitch tonight.
I could have even given him an 8, to be honest, because he was just everywhere. Nice touches, making stuff happen, getting stuck in with the tackles, and really being positive on the ball. If there was going to be a goal, it was going to be through him. Everything went through him, and he was the only sort of real chance that we had, apart from the alley chance at the second half. So for me, he's like the one positive that we have at the moment. He's like the one player I would say in our team right now is like he's world class. If
the other 10 players even showed half the quality that he was showing, we would be much more competitive in this game than we were. He is just a cut above everyone else.
He's our star player.
He's the only guy in that team lately that shows any ounce of quality whatsoever.
The amount of times he wriggles away from players, and you think he's going to lose the ball, but he has that quality to get away.
Yeah,
how many times has Dele or Lamella been just dawdling on the ball and just losing it? But where he has decisive movements, he knows what he's got. He's got a picture of what he's going to do with the ball before he gets it, and he executes it a lot of the time to perfection. And he's just doing it all by himself so much. He's doing so much of the creativity.
He's doing defensive work, creative work. He's doing it all
by himself, and he's getting so many times he's getting us into good situations which the other players are just screwing up and not making the most of, and he must be getting very frustrated with the rest of the team.
We were talking about this at half time, and we were saying that when we defend in our own area, he's the one that's actually preempting the second ball. So he's standing on the edge of the area going, right, I'm going to create the counter-attacking outlet from this because then I can take the pressure off the defence. And he seems to be the only one that's really dialed in to that. The rest of the team's almost just like in their own area, just sort of head it out, last ditch. He's the one thinking, I'm going to make use of this and position myself in a way that we can actually create a counter-attack from this. So he's got that high footballing IQ as well.
He was the only one who stepped up.
He's the only one in that lineup today that does, to be honest. The only one that's showing it anyway.
Yeah.
But let's move on to Eric Lamella. We gave him a 5. I just feel Lamella's just so wasteful with the ball. For all his energy and all his work, he just wastes everything that comes his way.
Yeah, there was a lot of energy and intensity in his performance today. I thought he was pressing the Leipzig defenders all the way. But again, this is a player who has not had many training sessions, as per what Mourinho's saying. This is his 3rd game in a week. I could tell you from as soon as I saw the lineup that this guy isn't going to be at full intensity for the whole 90 minutes. He's going to tire very quickly. And I think in the whole second half he did tire quite a lot. He wasn't the same energy. But unfortunately we have no one on the bench, so we had to keep him off the whole 90 minutes. We wasn't terrible, but a few situations we were on the counter and he just dallied way too long on the ball. Should have been quick through balls and get people in behind. But I have some sympathy for him. But I think he obviously he could have done a lot better. It was frustrating.
No, for the first half of the first half, if you like, he looked really busy, and he actually looked like he could have been one of the better players that we had. But then he was taking too long to release the pass, and I think it was just too frustrating. It was one of those headless chicken Lamella performances, and then obviously he just sort of fizzled out second half. So unfortunately, that's
because he was in such great positions at times. Where it just, quickly slot that ball, quickly pass that ball, and he just takes too long to make his decision, and then he inevitably gets tackled. Which moves us on to Dele Alli. We gave him a 5.
Talking of dawdling on the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Talking of dawdling on the ball, Dele Alli, we gave a 5. What did you make out of his performance?
Yeah, I mean, a bit frustrating. He's the only one who did kind of at least try and make something happen. Like in terms of in the final third, I thought in the first half actually when he was playing that false 9 role, he did drop deep quite effectively, and I thought he was coming into the field and he did a decent job there. But anywhere near the final third, he was just wasteful and useless, pretty much.
I don't think it was totally his fault, because as soon as he picked up the ball, they had about 3 players right on his back, so he couldn't really do anything on it. It was almost like threading through the eye of the needle, in our attacks, and I felt a little bit sorry for him because. He was trying to hold the ball up, and as soon as he got the ball, he was just swarmed with Leipzig players, and he wasn't even able to do a little flick or anything. He was just completely isolated throughout the game. Wasn't able to get to put his mark on the game whatsoever. So just disappointing.
It was a near impossible task for him, I thought.
It was impossible for him. I don't think he could have done really anything else. I just think he was just completely suffocated throughout the whole game by the
and he's suffocated and isolated as well.
Exactly.
He kept running into those cul-de-sacs, didn't he?
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't really, it's just a bit unfortunate. I don't really blame Dele. I don't think he did any howlers or anything like that. I just think he just wasn't given permission to even do anything.
And last but not least, Lucas Moura. We gave him a 6. Again, full of energy, lacking in a bit of quality.
Yeah, I mean, he had one good moment in the second half where he went past Mbukano, squared it to Dele, who had a weak effort, which is probably one of our better chances of the game. He's full of industry, he's full of energy. Well, a lot of the time, he did tire towards the end, but he's full of that, defensively, he's tracking back, he's hounding defenders, he's winning balls. Occasionally, he's dribbling past defenders, but I think, first of all, there's no link between him and any other attackers. I thought he struggled to get any sort of attacking rhythm going. He wasn't able to wriggle past any Leipzig defender in any sort of meaningful area to get a shot off, in the final third area when you're one-on-one with a defender or anything like that. And I feel like always with Lucas is one of my complaints is he doesn't use his pace well enough to get in behind defences. He likes playing the ball in front of a defender. He likes the ball to feet so he can dribble past defenders. He doesn't like to play. He doesn't make those runs off the ball so you can play the ball in behind. Yeah. And that's exactly what we needed in this kind of game when Leipzig, they play a very high defence. They like to push up. They're going to leave space in behind. And if you give it to him to feet, he likes it. It's not going to work as well as when you can run in behind a defence, and that's what he lacks.
But to be fair, he did actually get in behind to set up the Dele Alli chance.
Yes, but he dribbled past the defender.
He dribbled past the defender, yeah.
My point is he doesn't like to run in behind off the ball.
He doesn't like to hang on like the shoulder of the last defence.
Yeah, like a Defoe type,
exactly.
Off the shoulder.
Exactly, he likes the ball to feet so he can dribble past, but he needs to have that other side to his game.
He probably doesn't have enough faith that he's going to be thread that pass.
Like, look at Son, he's always beating the last man and like getting in behind the defence through like a through ball or something.
Yeah.
Mora never does that.
He's not waiting on the shoulder, is what
exactly.
he's saying.
And it's good, it's fine to want the ball to feet sometimes and dribble past. He's very good at dribbling past defenders. We can see that he can dribble past defenders all day long. However, you need to have something else to your armoury as well. And when defenders are going to get tight to you, you need to be able to spin them and run in behind and go the other way. But he doesn't do that ever. His off the ball movement is really frustrating for me.
I still think he worked hard though today.
Yeah, he did.
He always works hard.
I thought he was the second best player today. I thought Lacell was a clear man of the match from the Spurs side, and I thought Mora did put in a shift today, like he always does.
Yeah, I don't deny that.
Just from his energy, I thought he was our second best player.
I agree with you. It's just a source of frustration for me because you know how quick he is. He's rapid, this guy, and he should be able to use his speed in different ways, not just one way.
Jedson came on for Gio with 10 minutes to go. Nothing much there, and Aurier went off for a debut for Fagan Walcott, which was a very strange one. But in terms of Jose Mourinho, is there anything he could have done in this game different that we would have seen any success?
It's hard to criticise him too much because we all know how many injuries we've had. We all know the limitations we have. However, I think in this particular game, actually no, just because I think you could see from the start of the game, we did go in a positive approach. We did go with a plan of we are going to attack the team, and we are gonna we're not going to go there and sit deep and sit on the counter. We're actually going to go and be on the front foot, and I commend Jose Mourinho for that. And I just think as we were hit by 2 sucker punches early in the game, and there's not much he could have done too much really. The lineup was the lineup. I thought maybe he could have introduced Ndombele with just late in the game to see if he could do anything. I would criticise a bit for that, but I think in this particular game there's not too much that he could have done more.
I would say that when defending, you need to make sure that your wing backs explode out into the wide areas as soon as the ball comes out into that area, so it forces them back inside. And then what you want them to do is like shuttle the ball, left and right across the pitch, so you've got it covered. What happens when the ball was going out wide, Aurier was sort of half covering that position and half covering the central positions. And that happens when there's not good communication between the wing backs and centre backs. There's also not enough faith and confidence in the centre backs. So it's almost like you get a player sort of like trying to do both positions at once, and that was happening a lot. And so we were very exposed down the flanks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we were.
And also when defending the set pieces, you've got to see it. I know it sounds silly, but you've got to see it as an opportunity to even score a goal from it. If you stick all 11 men in the penalty area, then all that's going to happen is as soon as it goes out, it's going to come back in again. So actually, Lacell is the only one that does that. He sits on the edge of the area, and he's the counter-attacking option that when for the second ball. But you need to start thinking about this. Get maybe 3 players on the edge of the area. Maybe stagger it so there's one further up the field, one on the edge of the area, and one in between. And then when the ball comes out, you score the sorts of goals that we were scoring against Arsenal in the 5-1 League Cup. If you remember how quick we were transitioning the ball. That's got to be the counter-attacking option, especially when you're defending. But there was none of that. It was almost as if it was just everyone was just playing off the cuff. It was almost like it's not a team performance. It wasn't a team performance. It was a team of individuals. There was no real cohesiveness to the play. It was almost as if they'd just been thrown into the team for the first time. It was like a B team. It's like a Poch B team. That's what it was like watching that tonight.
Yeah, and you can see the difference between how Leipzig, the way they coach, the way Leipzig are coaching their team. Everyone knows their job.
They didn't let you have a second to breathe on the ball. They hunt in packs. Progressive in their play, they defend from the front. They're a really good side, and I really like the look of Nagelsmann's teams.
Yeah, and he's clearly a very good, very talented coach, and he gets his players knowing their jobs. He gets it drilled into them, his ideas and his philosophy. And
you said it reminded you of Spurs.
It did.
Under Pochettino in the early
years. Did remind me of the early years of Pochettino, and it reminded how aggressive, how they hunted in packs, how intense they were in their pressing on Spurs, not giving us a second to breathe, just suffocating us. And I do miss that kind of play, how we used to play like that. And I wouldn't blame it just on Mourinho, because we did lose it under Poch in general. So it might be a case of in a couple of years' time Leipzig will lose it as well. But it's just that's the difference at the moment.
Yeah. All right, that's your player ratings. Let us know in the comment section below what you thought your player ratings were. Like, subscribe and comment. Thanks for viewing. And as always, come on Spurs.